Are you ready to see what I did with the tear in the cover? So most of you know me very well, and you actually picked the correct thing of what I would actually do. And I did use the napkin dude. I think he turned out awesome. And what I really like about him, not only does it secure it so I don't have to worry about that small rip in the paper, but what I like is the transparency of him. And so you can see the keys right through his face. And I placed him in such a spot that it wouldn't really blank out his eyes. But the keys wouldn't blank out his eyes, but they would be down here and just right across his bridge of his nose. So I really love the way he turned out. And then I took the bold that was on the Starbucks sticker that I was thinking about using and put it here, and then I also put it up here, the other part of it that says sturdy and roasty sweet. So I like the way this whole cover turned out. I'm really happy with it, and I am kind of glad that I had that little mistake because I think it just made the journal front look that much better. So let's go in and start looking at the month of October, and we left off on this one. And so moving into the first week in Las Vegas, or first week in October, we had the mass shooting in Las Vegas, and so I noted it here because those kind of things I do like to put in my journal. I don't want to forget about them. And then my team at work and I went to a glass blowing class, and it was super fun. This is my work team, and then I just documented it, and this is the place that we went to called Live, Laugh, Love, and again just documented it. A fortune that was in a fortune cookie that I had, and this was we went to Jesse's final appointment for his hearing aids, and the doctor gave this to us, better ways to communicate so that you can ensure that he hears me and I hear him. And so fall has started to arrive, as you saw from the opening, and so these are just some pumpkins and a picture of some trees that are around us, which I really liked. This, when I went to the glassblowing class, there was this store I had not heard of before around here, and it was a stamp and stationery store, and they had really cool things. So I put their business card in, and then this is just it's kind of on my bucket list. It's never going to happen, but I've never been on a cruise, but these are ones that are for Europe, and I've always wanted to go on one of those. And so I just stuck it on here because I think it's so cool. Puerto Rico had their hurricane, so I documented it here. And I was lacking a little bit of inspiration, and that's what this was all about. This is just a little story about something that happened to Jesse. He fell, and he's okay, but something that happened to him. And I think that's really it. This is kind of all that story. I put some of the labels from the stamps from the Starbucks coffee right in here. And then if I move on to the next week, I really didn't have anything going on. And so some of it had to do with some collage work I was doing and just things that I liked. This was a cat that was in our neighborhood. He had so much swagger, I just couldn't believe it. And so I put him in here. And I like this guy. And so I just sort of created a story. This was a small collage piece that I put together. And you can see I have not finished this. I was going to write something here for the life of me. I can't remember what that was. So I'm sure it'll come back to me, but I'm just going to leave it blank for now. And then this was just a sign that I found that I liked. This little graphic of Chanel number 5. I used to wear that when I was a teenager, and it just brought back memories, so I put that in there. And then I was getting ready to groom Mozzie, and so I liked that little picture and documented it that way. As you can see, again, I've got another blank space, and I will probably document in here, or I'll put an image in here, or I'll leave it blank. It doesn't bother me. I don't feel like if I just can't think of something or something doesn't strike me, I don't feel like I have to put something in here. So, and I don't know if you can see this, but my book is wonky right here. So I want to tell you right up front, guys, do not use a Magnolia Journal magazine for your magazine journal. So you know I started my last 6 months with this, and I have had nothing but problems. It has completely fallen apart, despite even with the packing, Tyvek tape and everything. I ended up actually having to sew this, and it's still wonky. It's still, even that it's sewn, feels like it wants to just explode on me. So don't use a Magnolia Journal for your magazine journals. Moving on to the next week, this is when I did the Project Keeper, and I just documented it here in the image of my front cover. And then this was from Digital Studios, and I just thought this guy looked cool. I needed something to fill this space, and so I put him in there. I went to lunch with some friends, and I documented our photo. Remember, I told you I was going to try and take more photos, so that's what that's all about. And I sent some Happy Mail. I got some stamps from some Happy Mail from Christina, so I stuck that in there. And then we started having rain. You remember that I always put a rabbit when I'm having a haircut. Well, I forgot my hair appointment. So I documented here. I felt stupid that I did that, but anyway, that's why he's in there. Sorry, Tara. Next week, so this is just a flip that I made, and I put a Tim Holtz paper doll right on there, and there's some journaling under there. And then this guy reminded me of my Uncle Eddie, and so I cut it out and just kind of documented that, because he looks so much like him, and I just wanted to have that in there. Mozzie and I went for coffee, and then this was an image that I liked, and it was Friday, and documenting how the classes went. I finished class 6 of collage quirky characters, and so I was just documenting that. Haircut, and Christmas is in full swing in the stores, and it's not, when I did this, it wasn't even Halloween yet, and it was like, no, it's too early. I'm going to show you this in tips and tricks. This was a transfer I did. I was talking with Roxy Fur, and she was doing a transfer using freezer paper. And I remembered that I had done last year, around the August time frame, a transfer with wax paper. So I was talking to her about that, and I decided to try it again because it was really a fun technique. So I'm going to show you this in tips and tricks. And that's pretty much it for the flip. The month's over, and Halloween will be in the next month because it's the next week. Let me show you what I've done. I did get one thing done in my traveler's notebook, a collage piece, and it's this one. Let me blank this one out so you can take a look at it. So I really liked how this turned out. When I did a video for you about images that you could use, was class 5, and one of them was some frying pans, and this is a frying pan. And then I had a watch piece that fit right in there. I did some doodling around her and then added some words. These are from Pinterest. And then I added some butterfly wings. The face is from Pinterest, and I just added some horns. And I, of course, used my Prisma pencils and enhanced the colors. And I really like how this turned out. And the arms here are from one of our collage sheets that we had used in the early classes. So I just put those under there. And I don't think I'm going to do anything else to her. I really just like the way she looks. I did form a border here, and this is actually Scotch tape. I've had this for a long time, and I like the way that looked. And then the paper here didn't need a border down there. So that's it. That's what I got done in this one, which I feel pretty proud because I just haven't had a lot of time to work in this. Let's do tips and tricks. I've got some fun things to show you. Okay, so the first tip and trick that I want to show you is how to do this. Now there's a number of things that you can do with this. The colors will be somewhat muted because of the transfer technique. It'll be muted, it'll look a little bit watercolor-like, but what's nice about it is, one, you can easily write over it if you want, like I did here, or if you want something to come through it. So the one I'm going to do for you is I'm going to use this as the background, which just has some text, and I'm going to transfer a different image, and I'm going to put this in probably in my traveler's notebook. So the first thing that you're going to do is wax paper is what you want. So this is what I used. I might have even gotten it at the Dollar Tree. I'm not sure, but I've had this for a while. And you want to pull off a piece and cut it pretty close to about 8.5 inches wide. Just like that. You want to, I have about 1/4 to 1/2 inch on either side from the edge of just plain copy paper. And this is going to help you feed it through your printer. And I leave about 1/2 inch at the top, so when it pulls, it'll pull the paper first. And then this is where you can use your washi tape that you don't like. And I just take a little piece and place it along the edge, right up here at the top. And I make sure that it's flat, that there's no bubbles or wrinkles, so that it's just there. And that's all you have to do, and it'll pull it through. Now you're going to have to try your own printer and see how it works. This works fine for my printer. And I'm going to go ahead and print. And then make sure that when you put this in, this is the side you want to print on. On my printer, I actually have to turn this upside down in my printer, so it'll print on this. So I'm going to go ahead and print this, and I'll be back and we'll do the transfer. Okay, so my image is printed, and you should be able to see there is a lot of ink sitting on right on top on this wax paper. And you don't want to wait too long. Now the thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to try this a little bit differently. I'm going to turn this upside down so I can see where it's going to go, and I'll rub this way. I can see where I have some striations. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be cool looking. And so I'm just going to go ahead and lay this down about where I think I want it. And then you're committed. You can't really, you've got to hang on to it tight, and you're going to rub. And I did like take my bone folder and just sort of do it that way. You'll see the ink coming through. And I purposely picked a little bigger image with a lot of color to see what it does. And once it starts soaking into the paper, you actually get a little, it'll get a little darker. I did not change my printer settings. I just used the same standard printer settings that I always print with. And I have an HP Envy, And it's an inkjet printer, and this will only work with inkjet printers. And I can see that I think that's probably enough. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this up. You see there's quite a bit of ink still left on there. But can you see what she looks like now? This will darken as the ink starts to set in. And you can do one of two things with this. You could go in and enhance the color if you want with your Prisma pencils, or you can just leave it as is. I like the way it looks, and because I didn't do it on a white background, it's going to be a little bit duller because the print is coming through on this. But that's how simple it is. And you could do this, of course, with just regular paper. You know, you've seen that before where we use Mod Podge or a matte medium, and you put that on. But the thing that's nice about this is when you can write over it easily and it's transparent, but you don't have to spend all that time squirting it with water and getting the top layer off. It just comes right off. So I think this definitely has a purpose. You know, there would be a specific application that would be really good for this. And again, you can see there's still some ink left on here, so I could have probably done it even more and gotten a little more color off of it. But that's how you do that transfer. And it's super fun, and I hope you give it a try. I did want to show you how this has darkened up now. It's been about 35 minutes or so since I did the transfer, and it really has darkened up quite a bit. And so the ink has really soaked into the page. Looks great, doesn't it? So this is tip 2, and this is the Project Keeper, and it's the one I showed you in the video. And so I've done the cover. But again, when I was talking to Roxy Fur, I had watched one of her videos, and she had shown a different way to apply an image. And I think it was from Mark Montano where she picked it up. And I gave it a try, and I think it's fantastic. So I want to show you that. So here's some paper that I'm going to use. And it's just, again, 9 by 8.5 for my cover. And this is my image that I plan on putting on here. Now I've enhanced the color again with Prisma pencils. And let me show you how to apply this. So you can leave it folded if you want, or you can open it. I'm going to open it. And you want to put your first layer down just about where you think your image is going to go. If it's over, that's fine, not a problem, because you're going to go over your image again anyway. So just lay down some Mod Podge. I just have plain old Mod Podge matte medium. And then you want to take your image and put matte medium on that. So the Mod Podge. Again, a nice layer. Just an even coat. But you want to make sure it's well coated so it'll stick. And here's the trick. You take some water and you just give it a light squirt, and I mean a light squirt. So I just have an old hair thing that I filled with water, and I just do a squirt there and a squirt there, and there's just the bare minimum of water on there. And then you lay your image down. So you just put that where you want it. And then smooth it down with your whatever you like to use, whether it be a credit card or a burnishing rag like I use. And just lay that down. And you don't get air bubbles. And it lays down flat and smooth. Something about that little bit of water, really, it's a little bit of water, just a very easy squirt on the back of your image. And it just really makes it lay down nice and flat. I'm impressed. I love it. So I'll trim up this image, and then what I'll end up doing is putting my coat now over this just like I did before. There was nothing different about that. So I'd put it over here. I just need to get something for what I'm going to put up there, and then do it there, and if I'm going to put any washi tape. So, and I will trim that off. So anyway, you guys got to give that a try because it's fantastic. So this is the first one that I made on the Project Keeper. And what I'm going to do is a surprise giveaway. I've got 5 that I'm going to give away, and I just did a random draw from the Project Keeper video, and you'll see those names scroll at the end of this. So there's this one and this. You may have seen this on my Instagram page if you subscribe to that. And then there's this one. And there's this one, which I still have to do something to that. And then it'll be this one. And they'll all be finished when I when I send them out to you. I'll leave my email address in the description box so you can drop me an email if one of the names is yours, and I will get that right out to you. Thank you so much for watching and for your support. I truly appreciate it. That wraps up our October flip. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.